here. I know we didn't really have much time together, but I always know from the conversations and from all the meetings that you always had the students in mind, and I know that's greatly appreciated. So thank you.
Thanks, friends.
I'm not a trustee, but I will chime in. Oh, I'm sorry, Kate. Pardon me.
I too would just want to thank you, Todd, for all your work. You've always been the voice of reason. And as Jeff said, many times I would think about what you said and take it to heart. And you've led strategic planning, which is so critically important to what we do and our future. And we thank you for that. That is not my bailiwick, and I'm so glad you were at the helm. And we hope that we can continue to count on you as we travel some difficult roads ahead, and know that you are always going to be on our side, and we appreciate that and hope that we can tap that good mind in the future again.
Thanks, Kate.
I would just share that I've been around a lot of board members in the 20 plus years. Todd has always been that even keel. I think Jeff said it. He is sort of a voice of reason. When he spoke this last budget and he was not thrilled with the prospect of moving forward with a student tuition increase, I think that gave impetus to the board chairwoman to reach out to the county executive and leverage that $1 million increase in county support in lieu of a tuition increase. So I think that truly demonstrated what Todd stood for students, and also what a trustee stands for, also giving back. And Todd has a very important role with a very large union, and he reached out to us about getting his employees training, and we are working with his staff to create a program, phlebotomy program for his employees, and that we will leverage and increase the training available to his employees. So not only from the student perspective, but from a trustee perspective, and that connection to the community. And I certainly appreciate it. You've been a voice of reason and a friend to me and a friend to the institution. So thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Bill. Appreciate it.
So here's a fun part.
Okay.
Let's see what we have here. So when trustees leave the board, they are presented with this very prestigious chair. And so, Todd, you have to carry this home with you. But wait, I'm gonna put it on.
All right.
It's so we would like to, SUNY area, on behalf of SUNY area Board of Trustees, would like to honor you with the Board of Trustee chair.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yes.
You get a picture?
Sit in.
That might be a little bit much.
All right. Ready? One.
No, you gotta. Oh, we're taking pictures?
Yeah, take a picture. 1, 2, 3.
I like it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Would you like to say anything, Todd?
I just that I really have appreciated working with all of you over these years, and I came in at a time when Bill is really highlighting some real challenges that this college faces, and they seem to have been greater and greater each year I was on the board, and I have watched the people in this room struggle with coming up with solutions to these challenges and problems, and work as hard as they can for the students, for the stakeholders, faculty, and the community. This institution is critically important to our community, and it really does pain me to have to leave the board, because I've enjoyed being on the board, and more importantly, just having an opportunity to be of service. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that you've had me on this board and given me some responsibilities, and I'm sorry that my new position within the organization I work for doesn't allow me to have the time necessary to be a good trustee. And that's why I felt like I had to step aside. So I appreciate all of you, and thanks for the kind words, and thanks for the chair.
No. Well, you can if you want to, but we're not gonna make you do that. We'll make sure you get
Okay,
it.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, Todd.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
You too. Happy holidays. Take care, everyone.
See you, Todd.
We do have a vacancy.
Yeah,
With you.
if you know a guy.
Take care.
Take care. Bye, Todd.
Susan, can you hear me?
Hi, sweetheart. I sure can hear you.
Oh, it is so lovely to see your face.
Oh, there she
Thank
is.
you. It's been great.
I am moving your chair up too.
You can sit in on it.
No, absolutely not.
Yes, you can.
This is for you. So, Susan Swartz. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, County Executive. Such strength, such leadership, such passion for this college. You have served with us, I don't even know, at least 2 terms, correct? 2,
Yes.
oh my goodness, and have just graciously just been extended and extended and extended, not to mention her service on the foundation board as our representative there. Let's not forget that. Susan was the chair of the talent management committee and worked very closely with Tracy Cleveland for many, many years. I remember coming onto this board and watching her in action and just in awe. Such a woman of strength and just, I don't know. I used to sit and even watch her jewelry and just say, this is just a classy woman, right? And just given so much and fought with us along the way to better this institution. Again, same thing that we said about TAS. At times we would agree, at times we would disagree, but we all had one goal in mind, and make SUNY Erie as perfect as it could be for our faculty, staff, and most important, our students. And so, Susan, I just want to say it is an honor to have served with you, and I have learned so much from you, and I am just grateful and thankful to just have been in your presence. So I am going to turn this over to other trustees that I know who have worked with you, if not longer, well, yes, I definitely know longer than you, and they all have something to say. So thank you.
No, thank you, and I love you.
I love you more.
Susan,
I'll miss you.
yeah, I want to join in with my
I'd
fellow
love to
trustees.
chime in here. Susan and I go
Go ahead.
way back to 1992 when we were serving on the Buffalo Financial Plan Commission. And, you know, Susan, her formidable HR skills really came into play as you worked on the talent management committee and all the work that you did here to make sure that our staffing is right-sized for our institution. Your work on the foundation, I mean, so you're doing double duty all the time, making sure that they have the resources, we have the resources to make this institution all it can be. And you always had a thoughtful approach to challenges and to people, and you brought a warmth. I think you really were the heart of our board and of this institution. So I want to say how much I admire you and how much I've loved working with you, and how much I hope your next chapter of your life is just full and happy and healthy.
Thank you. I'm crying, so stop.
Lynn.
Susan,
You're a
if
sweetheart.
I could join in, we've known each other a long time. I got to know Susan through her great husband, David.
Hard to hear you, Lynn.
Oh, yeah, speak into that
I'm sorry.
table thing.
Yeah, let me start over again. Susan, I want to join in with my fellow colleagues here in paying tribute to you and everything you've done for our community. We have known each other for a number of decades. Got first met Susan through her husband, David Schwartz. Dave and I served together in the county legislature, and we did a few things socially. Remember the night I almost burned down the Ellicottville cabin we were staying in?
He's got the
But
minutes.
also,
Yeah.
then we were in Leadership Buffalo together. I think it was like 30 years ago, and what was that dance we used to do at those parties afterwards? I forget what it was called. The electric slide. Remember the electric slide?
There we were.
And then, of course, get
We're
to know.
still sliding.
Yeah. And then, certainly was happy to sort of reconcile with you here on the Board of Trustees and get to serve with you for a number of years. And you just always have been just a top flight professional. You brought your management skills and your wonderful temperament, your background, your leadership to this board, and gave it fully. And I think all of us appreciate, your experience in this community as a leader and your dedication to this board in particular. And you will be missed. Hopefully, we will see you from time to time. And I know you're relocating, but you will not be forgotten, Susan, as a great friend of this college and a great friend of all of us. So we wish you all the best.
I'll miss everyone. I'm missing them already.
Hey, Susan.
It's been hard.
It's Jeff, and when I think about you,
Hi, Jeff.
Hi. I think I met you over the years as well. Through some things that Len and I and you were all involved with. But I never gained an appreciation for just what a student of our community you are, and what a historian you are. Because that's what I think of when I think about you and your board service. I came on the board and didn't know. I had to ask what's the Senate early on. But I figured. You never had to answer any questions like that because you have been in the mix here and in our broader community for a long time and doing a lot of hard work. And whenever we would discuss something around the table, usually Susan would come forth with a very thoughtful comment that was grounded in her knowledge of the history of the place and the broader context of our community and where the college fits within the community. So those are the thoughts that I have as I think back on your service and our friendship over the last 3 or 4 years. And I just
Thank
wish you and David good health.
But you taught me a lot myself. Thank
Well,
you for that.
I guess we all do, but I wish you and my friend David very good health and a wonderful, happy retirement and future plans and travels or whatever you may have in mind. And I hope you'll always be, I know you'll always be welcome here on the campus and here in the boardroom when we have a chance to see you. Thank you.
Thank you. We'd like to get home soon.
Yeah.
Try to see everybody.
Love to see you. Hope you'll come back.
Hi Susan, it's Carrie. I know I haven't had the pleasure of knowing you as long as everybody else in this room, but I just wanted to thank you. It's been a pleasure working with you. I echo everybody else's sentiments, but I just want to add that I've always found your passion and the strength of your convictions to be very inspirational, and thank you for sharing that with us.
You're a sweetheart. Thank you so much.
And Susan, it's Travis. I know again we haven't really worked together that long, but
I know, I haven't seen you in a while.
I know. Well, I can say the first thing, as everyone else has said, when I first heard about how long you've served and the time and commitment that you've given to the college, I wanted to say thank you on behalf of SGA and every student that you've helped be successful here at SUNY Erie. So thank you again.
You've done a great thing for us, though. We're great.
And Susan, I will end, not a trustee, but I will end with, you have seen a lot at this institution. You have been part of 3 presidents, me being an interim, and you have always been a advocate for our staff and our students. You've spent a lot of hours, all the hours spent on workday and the talent management committee, so I appreciate that. I remember many calls, talent management, and a former trustee that will remain nameless that works at the Erie County Legislature right now. There were some challenging meetings, but you always stuck up for us, the senior staff, and the rest of the staff and the students. So for that, I certainly appreciate it. You leave a big void. You have many years of service, great service to this institution, and we only hope we can find somebody that could even tie one of your shoes, no less both your shoes. So thank you for that.
It's very thoughtful. Thank you so much, but you've done so much for us, and I felt very comfortable with you, and you were always making us think better about something that needs to be done, and you've already done it for us, so thank you.
Susan, we will make sure that you receive your chair unscratched, nice and shiny. But I just wanted to know if you want to say anything. I'll give you the floor.
No, because I'll start crying.
I know, right? That's what I said. I gotta stop myself.
No, I'll start crying. But thank you for everyone. It's been wonderful, and I'm really missing it. But it was time to move, and it's been here now with our kids and our grandchildren, and it's been wonderful. And we needed to do that, and I'm happy to be here. But I'm very sad to be away from my people in Buffalo. And I told people that we're hanging around here, and they need to go to Buffalo to see, because it's a really cool place.
Well, you are more than welcome to always come back. This is home, both Buffalo and SUNY Erie. And if you just have a few moments within between your grandkids and what have you, I'm sure there's an advisory council or something you can lend some knowledge to. But again, just thank you so much. We love you, and we just wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We love it.
Love you.
Thank you.
Love you.
Love you.
Wow.
Very nice, very nice.
Just really, they'll be missed. They'll be missed on this board. All right. Pull it together, Miss Wilson. We have next up the consent agenda for board approval. And I'll just do the spill. We have, prior to this board meeting going live, we met as a whole to have the committee of the whole, where we discussed many of these items, all of these items in great detail. But if there are any questions or comments throughout this meeting, we can, from the Board of Trustees, we can always pause and discuss. But for board approval, we have items 1 through 6, board minutes, agreement creditly renewal, addendum AAA Western New York 21-22 driver education, agreement Sage training and consulting, program announcement of a collision technology AOS degree program, as well as the talent management agenda of December 16th. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda,
So
items
moved.
4 through 6?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I hope not.
I want to speak, Madam Chairwoman, regarding the talent management agenda, which calls for another hire for a youth employment peer connector. I'm looking forward to a presentation next month on the whole youth employment hub that will be located at SUNY Erie. This is a bold and much needed initiative to connect Buffalo and Erie County youth ages 16 to 24 with high interest, high paying jobs. Key elements of the system are going to be creating this youth employment hub that will be situated at SUNY Erie, along with a companion digital platform that will be a place where young people can come together, learn about careers that interest them, have the opportunity to work with career coaches who help them determine what they're good at, what skills and training they need and credentials they need, and then connect them to the supports that will inevitably lead to high-paying, high-demand jobs. This is a significant economic development initiative, and it will put SUNY Erie right at the heart of it. And we have some significant grant foundation partners in this effort, and I look forward to hearing how the progress of this report, this initiative next month at the board meeting. So thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Masiello. We have items for board information, items 1 through 10. Are there any questions, comments, or further elaborations? Okay. Next on the agenda is for policy and governance, Trustee Masiello.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. The Policy and Governance Committee as usual, meets the first Wednesday of the month, but during this last month, we had the presidential finalist candidates in town, so we did not have a meeting. We look forward to starting off the new year bright and early on January 5th at 4 p.m. and invite everybody to come to the Policy and Governance Committee meeting at that time. And I have no other report.
Thank you. Next is the report of the chairwoman. I'll actually combine A and B and talk mostly about the presidential search along with my co-chair, Trustee Linehan. As many of you were able to attend the first week in December, seems like a while ago even though it wasn't, we hosted 4 candidates to come to SUNY Erie and present their vision for SUNY Erie. We also had each candidate interview with the Board of Trustees as well as take a tour around all 3 campuses. They met with a few deans and some other staff as well as Interim President Reuter on their visit here. The process right now, many of you may be wondering what's next. The board will discuss the candidates in the today at an executive session. We may or may not have a resolution to come out of this meeting, and then the candidates will then go through the process at the SUNY level. That is to be, those dates and times are to be announced. Other than that,
Just want to thank everybody who helped
Yes.
make those visits possible. Kelly and Gail, Bob Germani, who was hooking us all up during the great work, Bob. President Reuter for obviously briefing the 4 finalists on the college and our finances. Paula Sandy did a great job coordinating the visits and their tours and just the PR involved. I think we came up with 4 very qualified, solid candidates. We'll be, at some point, perhaps today or in the future, we'll be making some recommendations. But I just think the second process, I thought the first process was good. The second process was great. It was a solid, well-coordinated, well-organized series of activities and meetings and so forth. And I think every question that we needed to ask was asked. Every answer we needed was provided. So I just want to thank the campus community and certainly your leadership, Denise, throughout the whole. We've been at this almost a year now.
long time now.
And we should all be consultants on college.
Yes. Yes.
And also AGB, our consultants. We fought through a lot of difficulty on a lot of different fronts, but we got the job done with solid candidates. And so I'm just, thankful to my fellow trustees and everyone who made, and the people in the campus community who made this whole process, I think, very solid.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. I want to send a special shout out to Jason Perry, Dee Perry, Kelly Andolino, who else were our tour guides?
Katie Marshall,
Katie
Phil
Marshall,
Larry Donaldson.
Larry Donaldson, Phil, you were there as well. Katrina was there as well, and all of you gave up 2 full days to just represent this college and did such a tremendous job doing so. And so I just wanted to say thank you for that. Cannot just end this section without thanking the committee. The search committee members. These were members from the community of the college and just gave a lot of time. And people may not understand the commitment level to finding the next leader of SUNY Erie. And they were steadfast and committed. So I just want to thank that entire team. And also my chair, co-chair, who just teaches me everything I need to know. Okay, so that is my report. I will pass it now, move on to student trustee report.
Thank you. Well, we're here in December, and I haven't had a chance, I guess, this entire semester to thank every single person who's been involved, allow us to be back in person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from every report or every student that I've talked to, we appreciate having face-to-face instruction, having some sort of campus life. Especially talking to a lot of the first-year students who've never been on campus for college. It was a big game changer, and a lot of students were appreciative of that. So every single administrator, faculty, every board member, prison reader, everyone that was involved, I know Mark with code test team, we all appreciate it, and we want to thank you. We can't thank you enough for the work that everyone does. So again, thank you for that. As far as the SGA goes, the SGA has been committed to working with student activities, getting student engagement, and advocacy for students. So this semester, obviously being back in person, we're trying to figure out new ways to engage a lot of those students through different marketing tactics with social media presence, and getting our Twitter or Facebook, getting Snapchat going to engage more students. We've been working with some of the deans at Dean Perry with registrations, reaching out to different students, seeing if they're registered for classes, trying to get more contests and involvement with students going. On top of that, we also have a full calendar of events. If any board members ever want to come to them, we work on social, educational, and cultural events, which this semester I can say that we've had a lot more engagement, one, being in person, but two, again, students want to be a part of something while they're here on campus, so again, it's been nice to be back on campus. And that's really all I have to report at this time. So again, thank you for everyone that's been here for this semester as we close out and have finals. Thank you.
Thank you, Travis.
Thanks, Travis.
I want to kind of go off script a little bit. We have a technology presentation or update, right?
Yes.
May I ask Scott?
Wow, you're like me. You don't need to do that.
Good afternoon. It's been a few months since we gave a workday update, and a lot has been going on. Early October, we did our final historical data conversion, so we migrated 260,000 student records over from the old system into the new system, millions of course records, so that went off without a hitch. I think there was about 300 errors out of those students that we just manually corrected. Since the beginning of the project, integrations was, a huge component of Workday, automating a lot of data transfers with external systems. There's over 260 integrations, and we're down to 4 that are currently being worked on. All the rest are either complete or going into production the next 2 weeks. So That was a huge undertaking. Some of the things that the team's been working on, financial aid. Financial aid is kind of a new product to Workday. It's not really that mature yet, so there's been some growing pains getting that in the system, so the team has been actively tackling those issues as they come up and getting them resolved. Some of the current things that we're working on, and these have all been going through the student life cycle. That's how we tackle all these implementations. Transcripts did not look very pretty coming out of Workday out of the system, so the team has been working on formatting and making those correct. They were going into production on Monday, right in time for to start printing out of Workday for fall. So graduation process is complete. Faculty load for the spring semester is all done. So pretty much at the end of the implementation phase of Workday, what was contracted in the statement of work, and now we're sort of into the next several phases. The first one is really steady state. That is, this next year is going to be continuing to learn. A lot of these functions that we're doing for the first time. So until we get through a semester or two going through these processes for ourselves, prior to this we've always had the help of the consultants walking us through it. Now we're on our own doing them ourselves. So, and this was the same that we did for HCM and budget. That first year was the learning process. So that's really the next phase. One of the other projects after that is getting all that. There's still data on the old system that we didn't need to bring in for operations, but we still want to do historical reporting on. So it's getting all that data off into some central data warehousing repository, so we can do still trending data, looking back 5 or 10 years to see how enrollment trends are and other needs that we have. And then really the last one is rolling adoption. These last couple phases lasted the past 2 years, so we were just getting the bare bones into the new system. And now we're really working on taking advantage of all the new features that Workday has to offer. So right now we've identified 102 major projects that need to be worked on and implemented. Some might be a couple weeks long, some are many, many months. So that's what the team's going to be working on over the next, I would say, probably 2 to 3 years to get these all in. And just for some reference, some of these are New York State retirement system. They're changing to a whole completely new system. So the 6 months that we worked on getting it working with the old system, we have to redo all that work. SUNY is moving off of Blackboard onto a new completely LMS system. So it's a whole project to integrate with that. Sending COVID vaccine data into SUNY. We've been working the past several months getting that integrated with the SUNY state system. So those type of projects are, what we're doing, just trying to automate a lot of those new features and functionality to really get our money's worth out of Workday. So.
Thank you.
Questions?
I know that it has not come without challenges. That's probably the understatement of the year for you. But just thank you and your team for the work that you have done with Workday. And as you just said, making sure we're getting the most out of the money that we spent on it. I honestly can't imagine having to be in your shoes, but we appreciate it, and we also appreciate the update. So thanks, Chair Carrie, as well as you, Scott, and your team.
Okay, right. And it's just not my team, it's really everybody.
Everybody.
Management, this was a college project.
It's Arda pulling her
yes,
hair out
Arda.
on the finances.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, this affected operations for the whole entire college, students, everyone. So it was a huge college effort.
Well, then everyone in this college should be very proud of themselves for getting us this far. We will see the benefits if we haven't seen them already. So just keep positive and just know that we are all collectively working towards a common goal and making our college more efficient, and which could only make our lives, both faculty, staff, as well as students, easier. So, thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Next up, we have Colleen Quinn, College Senate.
All right, great. Hello, everybody in person.
can sit or stand.
I'll sit. Sorry about that. So we had our meeting on Tuesday. So one of the things that we focused on is just, we were not with people for 18 months. And I feel like this semester in particular, because we're now, in front of people and, having to go back to that back and forth and, really, the faculty have just done a fantastic job working with our students to make sure that they were successful this semester while also, jumping right back in full 2 feet into teaching this semester. So with this coming week, we've been referring it to grading jail. We'll all be in grading jail, finishing out our final grades. The semester ends a week from today. And moving forward to the spring semester. So we did, we had a couple of Senate appointments that for vacant spots, and that went through. We also passed a resolution. We're creating a task force that's going to be led by Dr. Jason Steinitz, and he is going to take the task of our 7.5-week semesters, and we're going to give him the ball and have him run with it. So create programs and scheduling so that we have lots of 7.5-week courses, not just for students to complete the semester, but to create a whole new scheduling system. And we're very excited about that, and we'll be working with Dr. Sagai's office with all of that as well. We're looking into some bylaw changes. We're working with Joanne Kohlmauer and Jim Barrell and Dr. Sagai with the creation of an academic policy committee. Right now we don't have one. We're one of the only colleges that do not have an academic policy committee. We have academic standards, but their charge is probation and dismissal. They've been operating as our academic policy committee. So what we're doing is making sure we have clear lines, and so that once we all, move on or go somewhere else, we got everything working like a fine-tuned machine right now, where academic policy is created, it comes up through the Senate, and then it comes to the board. And so what we're doing is we're just finalizing that in writing with this creation of this committee. We have not voted on it yet. We've got a draft out there, because as you know, with bylaws, you need at least 2 meetings before you can vote. So we're just got the draft out there. We're asking for comments and all that, and we're going to I already got another draft that's already been created that we'll be sharing with Dr. Sagai's team on Monday, just with taking in all of the different recommendations that were brought forth at the meeting. And it's very exciting stuff, because we'll be caught up with the rest of the SUNY community colleges. And our next meeting isn't until February, which is another reason we wanted to bring up this item now, so we have 2 months to really work on it and perfect it and get all the pieces together for February. So yeah, there we go.
Thank you, Colleen.
You're all welcome.
Anyone have any questions regarding College Senate for Colleen? Okay.
Awesome.
You're
All
on the
right.
hot seat.
Great. Thank you. And
Thanks for
I
everything,
apologize, I
Colleen. Good
gotta
job.
sneak out. Got some kids and they're knuckleheads, so I gotta fly. But it's great to see everybody. Happy holidays.
Yes, you too.
Thanks, Colleen.
Next up, we'll have the report of interim president.
Thank you, and in the interest of time, I'll just highlight a few items. I'll start with enrollment. Bob, if you could bring up spring, but before we talk about spring, fall head count, we were down 6% from the prior year, and on an FTE basis, we're down 8%. Again, that's fall. We have a short semester, winter semester, that starts on the 27th. Right now, we are trending slightly better than budget, and compared to last year, we're pretty close. That's a 9-day course. Those classes will all be online. Spring 22 We have open registration January 10th. We have classes starting on the 18th. And as the numbers before you up on the screen, it's not trending in a very positive direction. Compared to last year, same point in time, we are down 15% enrollment. It's a little better than yesterday. It was 18% yesterday, but still very troubling. As you know, we've experienced many years of declining enrollment, and we cannot continue with these type of declines. What are we doing? We have a pretty robust schedule of activities that we are in the midst of conducting. We're looking at students that have been accepted that have not yet registered. As of yesterday, that's 718 students. We have students that enrolled in the current fall semester that still have not enrolled for the spring semester. Some may graduate or transfer, but that pool right now is 5,784 students. We're working with financial aid, the bursar, and the nurse's office. We have 757 students that registered for fall 21 but currently have a registration hold, whether it's they owe money for the fall semester or they have a vaccination that they didn't fulfill. There's a number of reasons, so we're looking at that pocket of students. We're looking at all the students. Phil's leading a charge to look at all the students that stopped out, trying to find out why and contact those students. We're working with both pathways and our one-stop career center to identify potential students. We have a lot of students that are in those areas that we need to do a better job getting them into the institution. Advanced studies, that was a huge growth as far as enrollment for us. Fall 21, we doubled our enrollment. So we're proactively meeting with all the faculty that have taught those classes to try to make sure that those students that were taking advanced studies during the fall, if they're graduating, getting them to enroll at SUNY Erie, as well as if they're going back to the high school for the spring semester, that we capture those students for the following fall semester or even the summer semester. We continue communications with faculty and staff. Colleen failed to say, but she's been an advocate of trying to encourage students to enroll before they leave, because we know from all the information we have seen, if we capture a student before they leave for spring break, we are much more likely to get those students enrolled and continue in the spring. We are also, yesterday we sent a communication. We have listed 2,237 sections for the spring semester, and actually 425 of those sections, so roughly 20% of those sections, have no students even enrolled right now. So there'll be a significant number of sections that are canceled, and Paula Sandy has put together a pretty aggressive marketing campaign for the spring semester. We're doing TV, radio, digital, print, and that is kicking off. I think December 27th is the first thing that we're launching, and we'll do all throughout the spring semester. So it's not a good report as far as enrollment. I don't know, Phil, if you have anything to mention about marketing and or Dr. Sagai about any of the enrollment activities that you want to share?
From a long-term perspective, we've begun work on strategic enrollment plan that'll kind of.
I'm sorry, Phil.
Oh, you come up front?
Yeah, for
Sorry about that. From a long-term perspective, we've begun work on the strategic enrollment plan, as well as we've also been accepted into the Aspen Institute. There's a transfer intensive. We've begun working, collecting the data for that and building a strong transfer path between us and Buff State. And we're also involved in the City Reach program, which is really going to help us build programming and content and delivery for adult students. Those are more kind of long-term projects. Bill covered all the short-term tactics we're doing. Thank you.
Just on the strategic enrollment management plan, Phil is sort of our lead on that. There's actually a meeting, it's a SUNY initiative that they're funding, creating strategic enrollment plans. We're also working with EAB, but there's a meeting tomorrow that Phil is participating in, a SUNY initiative. And the Buffalo State, the transfer Aspen initiative is making the transfer experience between SUNY Erie and Buffalo State, which were one of their largest feeders, to be more seamless and beneficial to students and making it easy for them. Again, not before they graduate, but once they graduate to transfer to SUNY, to Buffalo State
The goal
College.
is hopefully if they see a clear path between us and Buff State, we'll start here.
Start here and
Go anywhere.
there you go. Thanks.
Thanks.
As far as the COVID update,
Hey, Joe, can I just?
sure.
Just ask you a quick question. Okay, so we've got a multifaceted media campaign coming up over the next month. We've got the 700 students who've been accepted but haven't enrolled. We've got the students that are here now, but we don't know what their plans are for the spring. Just, gut feeling where we are now and what's going to happen over the next month with the various machinations that are going on. Is there a chance we could hit an even number, or you think it's?
I honestly don't, we may hit budget. I doubt there's any chance that we'll hit prior year, only because you have to realize, the student population each fall has been dropping. So even if we capture the same percent of students from fall to spring that we've done historically, our starting point is much lower. So
Right.
I would hope, we beat budget for the fall. We're still down 6% because we have projected
Right.
close to a 10% decline. So if we could hit or exceed budget, I'd be very pleased, but it still continues that downward trend. The high school demographics, as well as the competition in the marketplace, the number of jobs, you see it, the unemployment rate, all the jobs available. We are swimming upstream as far as that goes. Our sweet spot may be that advanced studies. We had over 1,000 students enrolled. We doubled it this past fall. So if we're able to properly market and mine those students so they continue their education in SUNY Erie, that could be the glimmer of hope. Our first time full-time is up and our transfer students are up, but those three populations in total are less than our continuing student population. So we have to really make hay in those three higher education demographics to offset the continuing student decline that we've experienced.
There's a chance we could hit budget though.
That ideally, yes, absolutely. Again, the percent changed by 3% this past year.
Right.
As you enroll more students, the delta as far as percentage decreases. So obviously, we want to see it continue, but the wild card, the vaccine, the mandate, in-person classes. Right now, SUNY is requiring 2 weeks before enrollment that every student has to be vaccinated. We deregistered 133 students this last semester because either they refused to get the second vaccine or they didn't get a vaccination in total. So we lost those students. Will we get them back? I don't know. We are offering more online classes to give students that refuse to get a vaccination additional opportunities, but that's a wild card. There is some talk. I don't want to put the fear of God in anybody, but they're talking about a booster requirement for students. I'm not sure how that will play out, but that could be certainly another wild card. Just yesterday, I think 3 schools, I know Cornell just announced they were shutting down early. If the COVID hits our numbers and we can't open in person for spring, that changes the whole dialogue. So there are many unknowns. I think as far as what we're doing, Travis mentioned it, we are very stringent. We have 100% student vaccination unless they had a religious or a medical. We are testing 200 to 300 students and staff each and every week. Our positive test rate as of this morning was 0.7% of our full test, not 7%, not 8, 9. I think the county rolling average is over 10.43%. So we have created a very safe environment for our students, which is a positive. But once they go out for spring break, go home, wherever, at parties, we can't control that. But we are very diligent in that area. Our staff and faculty vaccination rate is 88.9%. Again, our faculty and staff have stepped up to the plate. They see as students are required, so they're required to get, they are stepping up. They're not Because for union contracts, we cannot require it, but they are cognizant of the environment we're living in. The county has been a big help to us. The county has a pop-up vaccination at South Campus. They're operating it 5 days a week. They're also doing it into the evening on, I believe, Wednesday nights. They did about 700 booster shots last week alone. So they have been a big help to us. And again, we are between SUNY, the state, and the county. The county was initially the mask mandate. And now the state has new mandates. And then SUNY has mandates as far as vaccination. So we have multiple masters that we're making sure that we follow and we provide a safe and secure environment. We've had a couple of staff that have not worn masks, and we are taking them to task. We are sent out a communication just today. There are staff members that have tested positive and have come to work. We don't want them to come to work when they've tested positive. So we're reinforcing that message. It's an evolving process, but there are still challenges just connected with that. If COVID wasn't a thing, I think our enrollment would be getting flatlined right now.
Thanks.
Bill, we know about the demographics. We've talked about that at great length. Do you think, and we know about the effect that a good economy has on community college enrollment typically, historically. Do you think that this period of low unemployment is different in a way from, and worse for us because of this spike in, say, the minimum wage, or not even required minimum wage, just the competitive forces that are letting young people anyone make $15 or more an hour working in fast food? Do you think there are people, I'm asking maybe those of you who are connected through your children or whatever to this market, are people saying, I'm just not going to go to community college now, I'm going to make $15 an hour and make money?
Jeff, I think that is certainly the case. No matter who you talk to or where you go, there is a worker shortage. So the demand is exceptionally high, and certainly young people that can make a $15 an hour, sometimes it's that short-term gain. You don't look at the long term.
Right.
And we have a lot of students of need here, and to be able to make maybe not necessarily a living wage, but to have money in their pocket versus maybe having money coming out of their pocket for education, it's a tough sell. So we have to educate those students. We have to educate the young people in this marketplace. And there's a lot of financial aid that, with Pell and TAP, Excelsior, Say Yes, that students that want to come to college now we don't have that price differential any longer because they can choose to go to a four-year school and have that same price effect.
I think also we have to take into consideration that a lot of our classes aren't offered during times that allow the students to work and go to school. We are less competitive that way, and with this during this time, competition is paramount, and we have to adjust our programming to that. They can go anywhere right now online and get the same degrees that we can offer here at probably the same or a little bit. They're probably willing to pay even a little bit more because it's more accessible. So we have to look at how competitive we are as well. I don't think it's just the $15 an hour, because that's not a livable wage. I think it's a mix of a few things.
Well, yeah, and Nadia, I know you have some thoughts.
Yeah, I do. I do. I think part of what we're doing, acknowledging all of those shortcomings, is really looking into our programming. So our 7.5 concept, that's speaking to adjusting to students' work schedule. We are piloting our HiFlux, and that is going to allow for a student to be either at home or to be to record the material, right, or to be in the classroom. So to be able to be really flexible. What we did a mini survey to look at what students, why students are not registering. We did I think there were about 50 students or so. Part of it is that they just want a very flexible schedule, not only in their course offering, but the service we provide. they got used to that WebEx kind of meeting with students, so we're adjusting to how do we meet with them, how do we advise them, so that they're not physically coming, so they are working and then they are attending school. So I think we're gonna certainly change some of that, but we wanna do it in a pilot form, but it is really also changing our way of doing business. I think the other challenge is that, not just us, but higher education itself, we're struggling to see how students are behaving and how our society is behaving in terms of not just education, but just in terms of how we live our life and what that looks like. So I think the college is doing all the things that we need to do. We're certainly constantly listening to students because they will kind of dictate the type of programming, the type of service the college is going to provide, not only for short term, but also long term.
Thank you.
Travis, do you have any reaction to what you've heard here the last couple of minutes?
I mean, I would agree with like some of the hybrid modalities too. I mean, there's some classes that are great online, some are great in person. So you know, I guess being able to offer more. I don't even know what we have. You know, besides outside of my program. So, but I do know that sometimes it is nice being having that flexibility, especially with schedules. I mean, that was something that you know, personally for me, I know a lot of the people in our program had to adjust to. You know, the last year going online and then having a lot of demand to be physically present for classes was something to transition to.
I mean, a lot of people in offices much prefer to work at home.
Yeah.
And this is the functional equivalent of the student's office. You know, we've got to bake that into our thinking and our programming and our negotiations and everything else.
Absolutely.
To your point about flexibility, so last spring, for instance, we had 195 courses that we offered online, height of the pandemic. This spring semester, 416, and we measure average class size. Overall, we're at 5 students per class right now. 5 students, not 33, what the contract provides for. 5 students, but online is the highest enrolled average right now. So students are flocking to those
You know, they're
online
voting
sessions.
with
Yep,
their
absolutely.
monitors.
But you're saying the average class size is 5
As of right now, yes.
online?
No,
No,
overall,
overall.
overall,
Okay.
overall. Not good.
Jeez.
Is that averaging in those sections with the zeros?
Mhm.
Okay, so some of those are
Those will be deleted from the schedule, so the numbers will improve, but we are way behind last year, same point in time.
So there's a good chance, a good number of those that we talked about that nobody's registered yet, we're gonna cut those.
Mm-hmm. Just a couple other, God bless you.
Excuse me.
Jeff is has leveraged a company called Stravati Aerospace. We had another meeting with them, and we're trying to create a P-Tech program for them. Jeff mentioned our cannabis meeting with Adam Perry. We are actually having our convocation on January 12th, and it's the first one we've ever hosted at the city campus. Chairwoman Wilson will be a speaker in the morning, and God bless you. Similar to our fall convocation where we centered around middle states, this one will be centered around guided pathways, culture of caring, promoting student success through guided pathways. And we are having the keynote speaker, Dr. Melanie Karp, who has presented at many SUNY institutions, very well respected. And Gail Frazier actually had a thought. We are actually going to have our somebody lead tours of city campus. We actually have a staff member, Denise Prince, that does that for a Buffalo-based organization that gives tours of historic buildings. We are have been asked to partner on 2 very significant grants, one with Workforce Development Center and Empire State Development and Western New York Regional REDC for EDA's Build Block Better program. And it was just in the paper a couple days ago. It was mentioned community colleges. We're one of the community colleges. We that grant application, we are actually one of 60. It's a national competition. They will be announcing 20 to 30 winners, up to $100 million each for the 20 to 30 winners. And every one of the 60 has been awarded $500,000 in technical assistance fund to develop a final application to move forward. And that application is due March 15th. And that was through the efforts of Stephen Tucker reaching out to us to ask us for a letter of support. And then earlier today, we've also been asked to participate in a EDA Good Jobs Challenge Grant, which is an initiative with NYSERDA. That timeline is, I believe, they would notify in January, but that is a very exciting, again, that's a statewide initiative with NYSERDA, and we are partnering with Northland Workforce Development Training Center and a number of private entities. Campus security, I just want to give a quick shout out to Mark Pacholik. Some of you may have seen, we had hosted a Buffalo Bills game 2 Monday nights ago, and there was a couple articles in the paper about no Uber, and a lot of fans were left out in the cold. Well, Mark and some of his staff, Ken Heary, Tiffany Tidd, and Dominic Cella, actually opened up South Campus late at night and allowed not only fans but children of fans, because if you remember that Monday night was cold, windy, and nasty, and I've gotten a lot of thank yous from the community. What Mark did, he and his staff arranged rides for many people, contacted the sheriff's department, and actually drove some of the individuals home himself. So Mark, thank you. Great job. Foundation, I wish Christopher was still here, but we issued a press release. We have launched our realignment study. We had 7 foundations that contributed a total of $280,000 to fund the study. We've had a couple internal meetings. We are just in the process of data gathering at this point in time. We're looking at all our academic programs, portfolio management, and we're tying that to workforce and student demand. We are going to make decisions, facility decisions based upon academics, and we will be asking individuals to join a oversight committee that will kick off probably first meeting in February. I've drafted a letter. I have to get that out. We've identified community constituents that represent not only internal but external, county executive, county legislature, foundation, citizens, 4 unions. I would ask chairwoman to have a representative from the Board of Trustees. That's going to lay the groundwork for the college for many years to come. I know there's been a lot of discussion in the news and press about the Buffalo Bills and South Campus. We are not party to those discussions. We know nothing about what the plans are. This study is looking at academic programs that make sense, realigning those academic programs. If South Campus, you remember the JMZ report, they talked about taking 2 buildings offline. We are looking at all facilities across the full 4 million square feet of SUNY Erie. That's city, north, south, as well as Northland Workforce Development Center. This Friday, I'll be attending the 139th graduation of the Police Academy. We have 58 individuals that are registered or going to be graduating. Those all are full FTEs. That was part of the program. The sworn officers and the pre-employment, 16 different agencies are represented. The county executive budget was released in November, sustained through the legislative process in December. The increase of $1 million that the county executive included last year is in the operating subsidy. So our subsidy is up to $19.8 million. And thank you, county executive, for his belief in us. We mentioned...
No, excuse me, on
Sure.
that point, that extra $1 million, that was an increase in maintenance of effort, right? So that means it's not even discretionary year from year, right?
Correct.
That's baked in.
That is our
moving forward.
starting point,
Very
Jeff, each and every year.
Hugely
And
positive.
originally, we were afraid it was a one-time, and through conversations and, having the connections with the budget office and having that discussion, they came back and said it was a permanent
Very
increase. So,
significant.
we talked about the STEM opportunities, SUNY STEM, the SUNY Nursing. There's been a lot of opportunities, the SUNY Reach kickoff, and Scott mentioned SUNY is moving away as an institution from Blackboard, and we'll be migrating to a Bright Space, and we actually asked to be in the first cohort. And with that, I have more, but I will include it in the minutes to the meeting. Madam Chair, any questions?
Thank you. Now, I'm eager to, you said that we have to have someone on this advisory committee. If there are trustees that really want to join the advisory committee, I definitely will. I think this is important, but we'll give you the names.
Thank you.
Okay, so with that being said, is there any old business?
Madam Chair, I have just two quick things on old business. First, I would like to say to Kathy, thank you for coming and making your report to us. I feel like you're a representative of a lot of people here, many of whom are in this room, who had a big hand in that Middle States response. But I also knew, from Dr. Sagai that there were a couple of really key people that, under her guidance, were really driving it, and I know you were one of them. So thank you for that effort, and to everyone involved, and for making your report today. That was number one. I think I saw Tracy Archie.
Back here.
Yes. I mentioned this during the presidential search, but it hadn't yet occurred, and I just wanted to give, at a board meeting, a compliment to Tracy, because she was instrumental this past Thursday going to the Government Finance Officers Association group in Rochester and participating as part of a panel on diversity, equity, and inclusion in the public sector workplace. And these were folks from authorities, cities, towns, villages, school districts all over Western New York, Rochester area. Tracy's co-panelists were interesting. One was my partner, Kinsey O'Brien at Hodgson Russ, terrific young attorney. And the other was Reuben McDaniel, who is the head of the Dormitory Authority in the state of New York, the chair of that. So it was a great panel, and I must say, Tracy, you represented the college beautifully in your remarks and in your interrelationship with the other two speakers. I don't know if there's anything you'd like to share about that event?
Just thank you. It was a wonderful experience, a wonderful opportunity. I met some wonderful people, and they really appreciated the sentiment shared. And they told me they learned a lot, and we connected. So I appreciate it. It was a great opportunity.
One thing that I was struck by, this was a professional seminar, so it's not usually a place where intimate conversations occur.
Yeah.
But during Tracy's presentation, there were some difficult questions asked and answered. People were sharing some thoughts that maybe in a lot of places where you don't know people as well, you keep them inside. But I think that's a testimony to the three panelists who really brought the audience into it, and some very interesting questions got explored. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you. Any new business? Okay. So we do, I am requesting that we go into executive session. May I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No one can oppose, any of them. Okay, so I will ask that we go into executive session.
Okay,
This guy is?
Gary,
we're live.
somewhat, almost.
Oh,
Okay.
Thousands are watching still.
to our friends in Guam and North Korea. So we made a motion to come out of executive session.
So moved?
All in favor? Aye. Okay, there's no one here to oppose. Hi, welcome.
Sure, ready? The Board of Trustees took action on personnel matters that remain confidential.
Thank you. With that being said, I would like to request a motion to adjourn this meeting at, I don't even know what time it is anymore.
4:55.
4:55 p.m. Next meeting is January 27, 2022. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, no one can be opposed. And with that, happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Be safe.
Yes.
Enjoy
Happy
the
holidays,
holidays.
everyone.